This is a race summary of the Hungaroring 45-minute race as part of the Rookie series of OOR. Let's jump straight in and listen to the race director explaining the rules for quali.
Hey guys, just in the quali now. Glad to see the amount of red cars making their vote in this split, so that's good. Anyway, it's just the normal rules. There's no overtaking people that are a valid lap. If you do invalidate a lap and there's someone catching you, just feel free to let them by. You got 15 minutes to qualify, so there's plenty of time.
So let's have a quick look at the qualifying. Before this race, I had about 5 hours practice. My fastest lap was a 1:45.7 before the race, so I already in this qualifying session beat that. And this lap is going to be my best lap, so we'll have a look. Someone in front of us, generally that distracts me, but in this lap it was not too bad. It's an awesome track once you get the hang of it. Didn't really like it up front. This is not a track that I've done before ACC, so in total 5 hours. It's not part of Gran Turismo Sport, which I used to play extensively. So we're driving the BMW M4 GT3, which is a very easy to handle rookie car, I would say. It's definitely one of the beginners cars, and you can set it up to be slightly more aggressive than a safe car, and this is pretty aggressive. So you can see the back sliding around. This car, I've put the brake balance quite far to the back, so as soon as you brake, you can trail brake nicely into corners, and when you step on the accelerator mid-corner, actually the back wants to come around as well, so you can actually use that to generate more turn in. Guy in front of me invalidates his lap and managed to get out of the way. I have a 1:44.9 on the cards here, top left, and it goes actually to a 1:44.8. But unfortunately I get on the power a little bit too early and completely lose it, and this is not the way to get a quick lap. Anyway, we have a 1:45.4, placed me 7th on the grid. Pretty happy with that.
That was a pretty good qualifying, everyone. There was a little bit of bunching up on the first few laps, but other than that, it was pretty good. So yeah, just as usual, we've got a 45-minute race coming up with one mandatory pit stop where you have to change for tires. Fueling, it is optional, but it's best just to go 50-50 each stint. Just when the race starts, if you're involved in an incident, just call out your number. I'll be able to write down, and the stewards and everyone can take a look at that. Alright guys, we'll keep it quiet now because the race is just about to start. It's very hit drive, so you don't have to start in the pit lane. And it's just a widget start, so just follow the instructions you have on your screen.
This is the third race in my second season of Rookies. I had to get used to the widget start a bit at the beginning, so you just follow that thing in the middle, stay within the green lines. If you go too fast, it tells you to slow down. If you go too slow, it tells you to speed up. Now you stay under 70 km an hour. And as soon as it's green, it's about reaction. So those who react fastest and have faster cars that can pull up quickly are advantaged. So tires are called. You can see in yellow in the bottom that tires are 25-26 degrees. So we're all taking it super easy through the first part. The Rookie series and OOR are an educational series. That means that there's lots of focus on education, how to race safely. So you see here a massive dive bomb. He takes the stage left exit while he should have turned right, unfortunately. Very fast driver, we'll see him again later on, I think. So there's massive focus on driving safely. So in order to get to this race, there's a whole week of practice, service available. There's walkthroughs, so basically lap guides, and there are practice race starts where you practice basically your first lap multiple times, because first laps are often 84. The ones that have
84.
A few issues, as we will see in this one as well. So far so good. It takes about a lap to heat up the tires, so we want the tires to be at about 27.4 psi. That's when they have optimal grip, and that's where we can make fast lap times.
Alright guys, safety car, safety car, safety car. There's a lot of incidences there, so we'll just get everyone to slow down to probably 100 kilometers an hour.
Let's have a look what happened there. So the red car gets squeezed, so well, pinballs off 2 cars. Then we follow the yellow car, who gets in between 2 other cars again, and there's chaos all over, more crashes, and yeah. So as soon as something like this happens, where I think the rule is if there's more than 3 or 4 or 5 cars involved, then we have safety cars in
34 the leader, just hold 100, and we'll keep a safety car for this coming lap.
Copy.
Yeah, just remember as well, you're not ghosted in this format, so keep your distance. Just drive in a staggered formation, just so you don't end up running at the back of anyone by accident. You're also free to pit stop to repair any damages, but this won't count as your mandatory pit stop, so you will have to take another one later in the race.
Alright, let's skip to the end of this safety car lap.
Alright, so I'll get the leader to slow up to 80, so we'll slow down at 80 until the last corner, and then you guys are free to race.
So you can see that the tires have cooled down again, which means the first lap after the safety car will also be a relatively slow lap where everybody just tries to survive. With cold tires, braking distances are longer. It's just so easy to lose the car. Also, if I would step on it right now, full throttle, the back would just spin out. So you really need warm tires before you can push.
Alright, green flags everyone.
So we'll quickly skip to the next lap because the first lap is boring. So here we go, tires are about 27 psi. Like I said, we want them to be a little bit higher, but we can start pushing here. So behind us is Doug Keen, very keen to overtake me, but it's my job to make it as difficult for him as possible. He's a very fast driver, has a look up the inside already. He's very good on the brakes. Go a little bit wide. He comes very close to me, but he doesn't want to push through, which is probably wise. That's another thing. That's what you would learn in OC, like in OOR. It's a long race. It's 45 minutes. There's plenty of opportunities to overtake. Crux is to learn your opponent's weak points and see if you can exploit that. So this is the next lap, lap 4. And Doug goes a little bit wide in the rear mirror. We gain a bit of time. So slowly, lap by lap, we actually starting to gain a bit of time. You can see that the guys in front of me are more than 2 seconds ahead. And they are very, very fast people, so I don't expect them, I don't expect to catch them at all. My job is to concentrate, do as good as possible to make sure I lose Doug behind me, who is now at 1.1 second behind me.
Yellow flag in sector 1.
Tires are fully warm at 27, are up to pressure. And we're in 6th, so that's 1 position up from where we started. can't recall what happened actually. It's
Losing to the car ahead in sector 1.
driving relatively consistent, not the fastest, but not slow either. So our best lap here is a 45.7, and we've just done a 46.2, which is not terrible. Duck is at 0.8. Duck is very fast in the last couple of sectors, in the last couple of turns. This from here on, Duck is very fast. So you can see it's the end of the next lap. We are 1.3 seconds ahead of Duck, and by the time we get up to the finish, we have lost a bit of time. Actually, this is not too bad. There's lots of examples where I've lost time to Duck on the last few sectors, and we talked about it later. And he also really saw that I was struggling in these last two turns. So I'm actually showing a few of the examples of the last few turns. This is lap 6. Just so if you have some feedback for me on how to get better at the last turns, please let me know in the description. That would help. See, the guys in front of me drive 144.9s and low 45s, so I can't do that. Lap 7, still a second ahead of Doug. And the guys in front of me are pulling away. They're now 2.7 seconds away. So they're slowly driving off, which is what we'd expected. Behind Doug, there's a big gap. So we're actually it's a fight from 2 to from 3, 4, 5. Then me and Doug, and then afterwards there's a bit of a gap. So it's really between me and the grey McLaren behind us. So far keeping it nice and neat. We've done 15 minutes so far, so there's no need to go crazy. We have a pit stop, which I generally do roughly at the halfway mark. I've got a little bit more fuel, so I can go a little bit further than halfway. As here our first person goes into the pits, we'll probably go to 5th position here. A little bit wide, no penalty luckily. So that's another thing compared to Gran Turismo Sports, where you can abuse the track limits without penalties often. Here there are very strict rules. The normal rule is if you go outside the track and you gain an advantage, you get a warning. 3 warnings you can have. The 4th warning, as I make a little bit of a mistake here, so Doug was 1.2 seconds behind me, and now you'll see he'll really get back to close to me. Like often little mistakes like this, they have a bit of effect on the next few corners. So racing like this, especially with a bit of pressure from behind, is very much a mental game, I think, which I enjoy. I'm not the best at it, but it's a thing of practice. You know, you need to be comfortable with the car, and racing physics in ACC are very different to racing physics in Gran Turismo. So it took a little bit of time to get used to it. I'm relatively used to this car, but I must say I haven't driven many of the other cars, and that will require a lot of hours to get to know the car. So what I wanted to say is that you have 3 warnings, and the 4th warning you get a drive-through penalty. Since this is the rookies, drive-through penalties are really, really harsh penalties. So the race directors or the stewards will change that into, I think it's a 10-second penalty. So this race, Hungaroring, is definitely full of track limit penalties. So we're going to see a few drive-throughs that will be transformed to 10-second penalties later on, I think. Duck is really close up now, well within the slipstream. I need to speak properly. And it's very effective because I am watching in my rear mirror the whole time, and it distracts me from focusing on what's ahead. My aim is to just hit all the apexes. That's my only game here. Try to get reasonable exits out of corners and hit the apexes, because as soon as I park my car on the apex, there's nowhere to go. This is a difficult track to overtake. There's a few places where you can overtake, but in this section you wouldn't want to overtake because you both go off. There's no ghosting, so a contact would probably end with one person, or if not two, in the barrier. But so far so good, all going well, and just until this corner where I slightly get a wide exit, the car unsettled, and I can't save it anymore. And this is the end of my race.
Oh my god! What did you do?
What did you do?
I don't know what to say.
But no need to give up, just keep going. The good thing about this accident is that it was close to the pits, so we can now go into the pits. What you can't see is that my steering wheel is completely turned, so I have such damage to the front that my steering wheel is 180 degrees turned, or 90 degrees turned, make it very awkward to drive. Hit the pit limiter on time, because otherwise you get a pit speeding penalty. Here in the bottom left you can see that I have a time required of 59 seconds. So normally a pit takes 30 seconds, so I've got 29 seconds worth of damage, which is really a lot. So this is boring. Now I have to wait until my car is fixed, and I do want to get it fixed, because this is too much to drive around with. I can't drive around with my steering wheel 90 degrees turned. Pit crew is doing pretty well. They seem to be motivated, which is good. And magically they repair the damage. You can't see them working on the car, but they're fixing it, which is nice. Thumbs up. Well, not really a thumbs up. I still have to wait 30 seconds while they apparently fix my body. So let's speed that up a little bit. And here we go again. We are out of the pits in 20th position, which is pretty much disastrous. But we'll just finish the race and see if we can catch up a few positions and have some interesting racing. So as you can see, I'm in between the second and the third person. So this is actually a good learning moment. So we have fast people coming through. And one of the things is that before you go to the sprint series, which is the which is with all the fastest drivers, it's about how to let fast people through. So this is a good example. I braked a bit too much. It was a reasonable spot to let them go, I think, but I had to pretty much give up a lot of time to let them through. But the good thing is they can keep fighting and continue their race without me interfering their battles, because ultimately my race is basically lost and I definitely don't want to hurt anyone else's race. But the good thing is we can now follow these guys, and interestingly Doug Keane, number 12 McLaren, is behind us again. But he will still have to pit. You can see I've got a little green thing behind next to my number. That means that I've done the mandatory pit stop, and all the other guys still need to do their mandatory pit stop. Eyes are cold when you come out of the pits. We're now one lap in, so they're starting to heat up. And we now have another 22 minutes before the end of the race, so we're just halfway.
Halfway through, keep pushing.
Duck is 1.8 seconds behind. Sam Downey is 2.6 ahead. They are faster drivers. Their tires are maybe a little bit worn, so you'll definitely feel that. So I should be able to stay with them relatively well, I think. We'll see.
How are you meant to unlip yourself?
And at the end of that lap, we are still in relative position, same position to Doug, but Sam, the guys in front, are basically pulling out. They're doing 145s, while I'm doing actually 146.7. And at the end of this lap, we see that the pattern continues. So I'm pulling away slightly from Doug behind me. But Sam in front of me is pulling away. It's now 4.4 seconds in front of me. A little bit wide there, but it was going slow, so then you don't get a penalty. A bit later in the lap, it becomes our time to overtake back markers. So we have Adams a couple cars ahead. He has to let number 2 and 3 through. That severely hurts his own time, and suddenly I'm very close to him. It's the yellow car in front of him, right in front of us. This is the person who was involved in the safety car at the start of this race. So we'll see how this is going to go. So the rules are sort of, you get blue flags, you can see the marshals on the side handing out blue flags, and after 4 flags roughly you should be able to, you should have given away your position. It depends on the track. Some tracks it's very difficult to give the position away, so it's here in OOR we're just friendly and say whenever it's safe to do so, just let the person go. So we have a straight coming up here, so I assume that Adams is gonna give me space here. He should go for a fast exit. He pulls in straight away. He should probably have tried to get a fast exit, because now he's very far behind me. He could have let me go roughly here and be only just like, and only have lost a little bit of time. But alright, all good. So next car is also a back marker. You can see it because the name is in blue. So they've got the blue flags. Sinden, I think this was one of his or her first races. There's the blue flag. This would have been a good spot to give me the position. Instead, there's a bit of panic here. It's not terrible, but it just compromises their line, and also it's slightly distracting. It's easy to let people go on the straights, but this is all good experience for them, but also for me, because you know, if people give way to you, you just need to take it and not get distracted. And as you could see here, I got a little bit distracted, which is fine. It's all learning. We're all playing nicely here. There's no points in rookies, so there's nothing to lose. It's just bragging rights, I guess. Doug is still behind us at 2.8 seconds. Hasn't done his mandatory stop, so is the person in front of us. Sam hasn't done his mandatory stop.
The car is exiting the pit, Roger.
Okay, this is where it starts to get interesting. So car exiting the pit, really in the racing line. Cold tires, so they will be slow and careful through the first bits of the first corners. Easy to run wide. I'm running wide, this person runs wide as well, as you can see. We both run wide, and then it's the question, what do you do? I sort of push through, which is a bit rough, I think. I could have easily stayed behind him, Was a little bit of a risky move that could have easily had me ending up in the barrier, so it's probably not the wisest, and it's also not the friendliest move, so sorry for that, A. Simpson. That's what this series is about. This series is about, you know, getting used to racing with other people, and as you can see, there's quite a lot of cars on track, quite a varied level of skill, so it's all good learning. Alright, the next few laps were quite boring, so we skip a few laps. We're now starting lap 18, and now it's starting to get interesting again. We have a car leaving the pits, and he's in front of me. So this is Cody, and Cody is a very fast driver. We're pretty well paired up, I think. He just qualified slightly ahead of me, and I think we both have good pace.
Again.
63.
63 clearly had a bit of a moment, so that's where the stewards can assess. So Cody still has cold tires, so you can see that I'm catching up to him relatively easily. 0.4 behind, 0.5 behind. But it only takes a lap for tires to heat up, so I just have to make sure that I stay with him, and rather than defending, this time it's my turn to attack. Like I said before, we're not going to go crazy here, we're just going to suss out. We still have 9 minutes of race to go. We can suss out where might be a good opportunity. I just have to try to get good exits out of a few corners. The corner we just came out, because this is an overtaking spot, and turn 1 is a good overtaking spot. I don't know exactly what he was doing here. See, he just came to me quickly, and I think he was in the wrong gear, or didn't change gears too quickly or something like that, because he had no acceleration. Or maybe it was just a trick to get me off my Okay, so this was interesting. Looking back at the replay, there was a lot of space between us, but I find it hard to judge sometimes how wide or how close the car is. So I went through the grass, completely unnecessary. Cody left plenty of space for me. I just didn't realize he did, so all good. I'm very close now. Thinking about a dive in, which is always tricky, because of course the spotter will tell him that I'm next to him, or get very close, and he overshot the corner a little bit as well, probably as a result of that, of seeing me getting very big in the mirror. That's what it's about, you know. This is just a nice battle. I have a little bit of a moment. These things are not smart, because you want to stay within slipstream, at least for the main straight. But I'm back in half a second, so that's good. Slipstream is roughly about a second or something, then you get some benefits. I've got a very good run here. Let's follow this battle for a couple of laps. For as long as it takes, don't make the mistake again of crashing into the wall. Just keep it together. A little bit wide, very late apex there. Cody's very fast in this section. I definitely do something wrong here. I'm a bit afraid to step on it
12.
really hard. I think that's the difference.
Blues. Car 12.
See, we both make little mistakes, and keeps the battle interesting. Goes a little bit wide. He comes back, and he touches me. when I was driving, I thought I'm not going to call out my number. If I call out my number,
103.
someone might get a penalty. But Cody,
103 and 67.
but Cody called out his number, so I thought I'd call my number out as well. So that means the steward will have a look at it. In my mind, it was a racing accident. Luckily, I'm still alive. Cody's alive, so and damage would be minimal from a touch like this. Maybe at some stage I'll go through my menu to see what the damage is. But we're still alive. With only difference is that, of course, we now have lost the slipstream and we're 2.5 seconds behind Cody. But there's a potential to catch up to him again. There's only 5 minutes of the race left, so I have to be quick if I want to make this overtake. We haven't seen any drive-through penalties yet.
131.
Copy 131.
The gap has been reduced already to 1.8, so slowly we're catching Cody again. Although we do a super slow lap at 150, that's alright. You can see now that if you look at the track map, there's cars everywhere, but we are in a bit of a gap again, so there's no one in front of Cody, and there's quite a nice gap to the people behind us, and we should be quicker than the people behind us anyway. We both qualified a lot higher than where we are now in the ranking. Nice attack in the corner. Okay, so now I have 3 track limit warnings. The next one is a drive-through penalty, which will become a 10-second penalty. So from now on I have to be really careful. Because the last thing I want now is a 5-second penalty, because that would almost drop me a position back.
Removed.
Car 12, we can't remove track cut, sorry.
Copy that.
They were not really making a bit of an impression here, unfortunately. Cody had a few good corners. I see my damage is only 1 second, so pitting with tires would be 30 seconds, and we have 31.5 seconds, so I've got 1.5 second damage from the contact with the wall and with Cody, so that's pretty okay. I do another terrible lap here. Because I should be doing 46s for sure. We haven't seen any DTs yet. I wonder when they come. Moving forward a bit, we see that Cody is driving away, and at this stage there's a gap behind me, so it's pretty. I was cruising a little bit, but I now see that Cody has a 5-second penalty, so he must have had the 4th track limit warning and therefore get a penalty, and instead of 10 it's actually 5 seconds, so that's very friendly penalty. So now my only goal is to stay within 5 seconds of Cody. So as you can see now he's like he's 5 seconds in front of me, and now I really get the message that I need to accelerate very quickly and get on with it, because I don't want to lose more than 5 seconds from Cody. But a few corners later it's already down to under 4, so that's going well. There's also one person in front of Cody, not too far, so maybe he's going to deal with traffic as well. But I have number 24, number 900, car number 900 in 24th position in front of me that I have to deal with, so I could potentially lose a lot of time here as well. So hopefully this is going to go smooth, and we can continue our chase to Cody.
Leaders on final lap there.
Lobby 131.
131 again. We've heard that number a few times in this race, unfortunately. But that's okay. We're all learning. That's fine. Okay, let's see how the blue flag is going to deal with this. Oh, yeah, just pull off the track. That's possible. It just costs yourself so much time. But it's the good thing sort of to do. It's better than completely hindering. I guess either would have been fine. I'm happy to lose more time if there's not a suitable place for a blue flag to let me go, so that's fine as well. It's just unfortunate that if you do it like this, then that pink car lost a lot of time there. So the last few corners with 2.5 seconds within the gap. The person in front of Cody also has a 5-second penalty, but this person is in 26th position anyway, so it doesn't affect us. Last corner, don't die. K Reed is behind us. He's a really fast driver, one of the fastest in this split. He must have had a bit of an accident. And we finish within the 5 seconds of Cody. One more lap to go. I was confused now. I thought my race was finished, but actually it's not. And I had that before where I thought my race was finished, but it wasn't. So my strategy now is just to listen to my spotter, and as soon as he tells me that the race is finished, that's when I stop.
Can I get a repeat on that number, please?
I think that was just Brad going, let's fucking go.
I still nearly have a, if I get one more track limit warning, then I have a penalty, so I need to really remain focused here. The gap to Cody is still 2.5, so that's good, but I cannot afford a single mistake. At the moment I'm in front of Cody, and I'd like to keep it like that. So you can see all the back markers there in front of us also have penalties. This is a track where so often time limits are violated. It's so easy to do, so not a surprise.
Let's go, guys. Yeah, boys and girls.
Just remember to stay off of Discord voice until everyone has finished the race.
Cody's held up a little bit, but it wouldn't have mattered much, because I was within 5 seconds anyways. Well done, that was an awesome race. So it's really unfortunate that we have lost.
Alright, checkered flag.
It's really unfortunate that I lost the car when fighting Doug, because I think I could have ended in front of Doug, maybe if I wouldn't have made another mistake. That was quite a nice race, although it was at the back. There were a few laps where no one was there in front of me or behind me, but luckily I had a bit of a fight with Cody, which was very entertaining. So thanks for that, that was awesome. See you at the next race.